Okay, so I guess this might be called a story time. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but basically, just to let y'all know what happened. My daddy was black, my mom's Korean. My daddy was in the military, got stationed in Korea, met my mama, married her, her family cut her off, and he got stationed back in the States. They got pregnant with me. She had me. He got stationed back in Korea. So we all went. And when it was time for him to come back to the States, or us to come back to the States, he told her that he was going to bring me and get me settled in. And in 2 weeks, he would send her a plane ticket. And he never sent her a plane ticket. And when he left with me, he ended up taking a passport so she couldn't come back. So of course, when I was younger, I used to ask my daddy why everybody else had a mama and I didn't have one. And he would say my mama didn't like it in the States, so she left us. And that's just what it's been my whole life. My daddy passed away about 3 years ago. And after he died, I found a copy of him and my mom's marriage license. And it had her name, her birthday, her parents' names, and their address. In May of 2024, I was supposed to go to Bali with my homegirl, but God was like, nah, you gotta reroute this trip and go to Korea, and you need to go now. So I listened and I changed the trip. I ended up going to Korea by myself in May of last year. It just so happened to be Mother's Day weekend. It was not planned like that at all. And I really went with no plan. I knew no Koreans. I spoke no Korean. I ain't know shit about what I was doing. I had no plan. One particular day, I was in this neighborhood and just wandering around this little city or big city. I pulled out my phone and I typed in how to find a parent in Korea, and the first thing came up was go to the police station. They told me that I had to take the information that I had to the Seoul police station. And so I got back on the train, went to Seoul. They were closed because it was Buddha's birthday. And so they told me I had to come back next morning, which I did. There was a man and a woman there, and I could tell the woman wanted to help me, but the man was kind of like, seemed like he was like second guessing it. So that's when, if you saw the video, she said, we can only help you if you're lost or adopted. And so I wasn't adopted, so I told her, well, I guess technically I'm lost. And she told me that in Korea, the Koreans have the option of registering their DNA every 10 years in the event somebody comes looking for them, and that people could do a DNA test. If there was a match, they would let the person know that somebody was looking for them. So I said, okay, well, cool. I'm willing to do that. I'm here. Might as well. And I said, where can I go to get that done? And they actually do it in the police station. So she was like, oh, you don't have to leave. She said, I will call somebody down. And this guy came to get me. He took me to this office. He knew just enough English to show me how to fill out the consent form. And I did. He took the swab, and at the end, he told me that it would take 60 days for me to get the results. And I said, well, I'm not gonna be here 60 days. And he said, when do you leave? And I lied, and I said, tomorrow. When in reality, I was supposed to leave like 3 days later. And so he said, oh, I'm sorry, it'll be 60 days. He said, now, if she's deceased or she does not want to talk to you, then we will not contact you. But if she wants to talk to you, we'll contact you, and we'll exchange the contact information at that point. So I said, okay, cool. So I talked to my cousin, and we decided to just dip out of Korea and spend the rest of my vacation time in the Philippines, in Cebu. We flew out at 8 o'clock that night, and it was like a 4-hour flight. When we landed in the Philippines, I turned my phone back on, and I was filling out the stuff for the immigration people. And when I went to check my email, that's when I saw the message from the Korean police department saying, hey, we found your mom. She wants to talk to you. Here's her phone number. I ended up calling her at like 1:30 in the morning, and we had our first conversation. It was a little emotional, and I told her I can come back on Sunday. And she said, okay. My cousin and I flew back on Sunday. She ended up meeting us at the train station. We went back to her house, and she basically explained how my daddy basically took me away and took her passport. And I know she wasn't lying, because to this day, she doesn't know how much information that I actually know. His sister actually told me the same thing, but didn't give as much details, but they had the same exact timeline. She never had more kids. He never had more kids, so here I am, the only child from that situation. She did tell me when I was there in May that she had brothers, but she said I couldn't meet him during that time. And I thought I couldn't meet him because they did not approve of my parents' marriage, and so therefore it might have trickled down to me some way, somehow. But the reality is, she actually held that secret for 40 years from her siblings, and we actually got to meet them back in December when I took the kids back to Korea. So they were very, very welcoming. Everybody was super nice to us. Like, it was just really a moment that I never thought that I would ever experience in my life. And so present day, we do still keep in contact. She talks to one of my kids every day, but now it's just more so of the language barrier that's the biggest issue. But I got my mama. So later this year, I'll be 42, and it's significant because this year make exactly 40 years since my mama spent a birthday with me. And so I'm gonna go spend that time with her and keep making memories.